The most famous work by renowned artist Michelangelo covers a section of the Sistine Chapel's ceiling in Vatican City. The scene depicts God and Adam with outstretched arms, their fingers nearly touching. It is one of the most replicated images in history. It was drawn between the year of 1508 to 1512. The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel had been dulled by centuries of exposure to candle smoke, among much else. After a long, extensive cleaning that ended in 1989, people were shocked to see the bright, vibrant colors Michelangelo originally used.
Las Menanas, which drawn in the year of 1656 is not only Diego Velázquez's most famous painting, it's also one of his largest. The complexity of the work has fascinated art critics and the public for centuries. The painting does double duty as a portrait. It serves as a group portrait of Spanish royalty, but it's also a self-portrait of Velázquez himself at work. On the left, Las Menanas was commissioned by King Philip IV of Spain, who ruled from 1621 to 1665. It stayed in the royal palace until 1819 and it's currently placed in Museo del Prado, Madrid. The Birth of Venus was probably commissioned by a member of the wealthy and art-loving Medici family, which ruled Florence and nearby areas for centuries. Marrying a renewed interest in classic Greek culture with early Renaissance style, in the year 1485 Botticelli creates an unforgettable figure with the goddess of love emerging from a huge scallop shell. It's currently placed in La Galleria degli Uffizi, Florence, Italy. Botticelli's Venus features two significant departures from most other works of his contemporaries. First, he painted on canvas instead of the more popular wood. Secondly, nudity was rare at this time, so it was daring that Venus is completely exposed minus her long, flowing hair and a hand, barely, covering her most intimate body parts. Johannes Vermeer drew this in the year 1665 and it's currently in Mauritshuis, The Hague, Netherlands. While the Mauritshuis underwent a renovation from 2012 to 2014, Girl with a Pearl Earring went on tour in the United States, Italy and Japan. It drew huge crowds, further bolstering its status as one of the world's most famous works of art. This intriguing favorite often gets compared with the Mona Lisa. Besides the stylistic differences, technically, Girl with a Pearl Earring isn't even a portrait, but a tronie, a Dutch word for a painting of an imaginary figure with exaggerated features. The oil-on-canvas masterpiece is brilliant in its simplicity. The girl wearing a blue and gold turban and an oversized pearl earring is the entire focus with only a dark backdrop behind her. Gustav Klimt is the artist who drew the kiss in the year between 1907 to 1908 and it's currently placed in Upper Belvedere Museum, Vienna, Austria. From Klimt's golden period, Byzantine artistic influences can be seen in the highly decorative robes worn by the passionate, life-sized couple. The Upper Belvedere says that with the kiss, Klimt makes a general allegorical statement about love being at the heart of human existence. Given its magnetic appeal, it seems people agree. This painting depicts the German aerial bombing of the town of Guernica in the Basque region during the Spanish Civil War. The painting has that distinctive Picasso style, and its unflinching examination of the horrors of war made it an essential part of 20th-century culture and history. Picasso drew this around 1937. Guernica was moved to the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art in New York during World War II for safekeeping. Picasso requested that the stay be extended until democracy returned to Spain. It finally went back to Madrid, Museo Reina Sofia, in 1981.
Edward Munch drew The Scream in 1893. The Scream is not a single work of art. According to a British Museum's blog, there are 2 paintings, 2 pastels and then an unspecified number of prints. The paintings reside in the National Museum and the Munch Museum, and in 2012, one of the pastels sold for almost $120 million at auction. Much like the case of Mona Lisa, Daring Thefts 1994 and 2004 of the 2 painting versions of The Scream, helped elevate the public's awareness of the artworks. Both were eventually found. The androgynous figure in the forefront of the Art Nouveau style painting isn't producing the scream but rather is trying to block out a piercing shriek coming from nature. It was inspired by an actual experience Munch had while taking in a sunset stroll in Oslo when a dramatic red hue overwhelmed his senses. Around 1889, Van Gogh was living in an asylum in Saint-Rémy, France, being treated for mental illness, when he painted The Starry Night. He was inspired by the view from the window of his room. The comparatively abstract painting is the signature example of Van Gogh's innovative and bold use of thick brushstrokes. The painting's striking blues and yellows and the dreamy, swirling atmosphere have intrigued art lovers for decades. This painting currently in Museum of Modern Art, New York City. Leonardo da Vinci's another amazing work is The Last Supper. It was estimated to create between 1495 to 1498 and currently in Santa Maria del Grazie, Milan, Italy. Painted in an era when religious imagery was still a dominant artistic theme, The Last Supper depicts the last time Jesus broke bread with his disciples before his crucifixion. The painting is actually a huge fresco 4.6 meters 15 feet high and 8.8 meters 28.9 feet wide, which makes for a memorable viewing. The fresco has survived two wartime threats. Napoleon's troops used the wall of the refectory on which the fresco was painted as target practice. It also was exposed to the air for several years when bombing during World War II destroyed the roof of the Dominican convent of Santa Maria del Grazie in Milan.
Most famous painting in the world is That Mysterious Woman with the Enigmatic Smile. It's done by Leonardo da Vinci between 1503 to 1519. The sitter in the painting is thought to be Lisa Gherardini, the wife of Florence merchant Francesco del Giocondo, but experts aren't sure. It did represent an innovation in art. The painting is the earliest known Italian portrait to focus so closely on the sitter in a half-length portrait, according to the Louvre, where it was first installed in 1804. At present it's in Louvre Museum, Paris.
If you like our content, please like and subscribe, and do watch out for more.